All right, welcome. Today, we're going to dig into a problem that pretty much everyone faces, whether you're a scientist, a business analyst, or really anyone who has to communicate complex ideas. How do you stop your writing from being, well, boring? We're going to learn how to turn that dry, professional text into a story people actually want to read, and we're taking our cues from the pros at the Academy of Management Journal.
So let's just start with a really honest question for yourself. You've got these incredible ideas, right? You do the hard work, you find the insights, but are you telling a brilliant story about them? Because if your story falls flat, then all that brilliant work, it just kind of disappears into the noise.
And this quote just hits the nail on the head. Your ideas can be absolute gold, but if you wrap them in what they call a desert of barren prose, nobody's going to find them. It's like burying treasure without a map. The idea isn't the problem, the delivery is. Great ideas are simply not enough on their own.
To get past this, we have to start thinking about our work a little differently. You see, most of us think we have one job, but in reality we have two, and we're usually only trained for the first one.
Here's the mental shift we need to make. Your first job is doing the work, answering the questions, running the analysis. That's the part we all focus on. But your second job, that's telling the story. And that's the job that makes the work actually matter to anyone else. It's the bridge between having an idea and making an impact.
So, the big question is, how do you get good at that second job, especially if you don't think of yourself as a writer? Well, the good news is, you don't need to be a literary genius. You just need a simple toolkit. So let's unpack 3 essential tools that can bring pretty much any piece of writing to life. So what are these magic tools? It's actually pretty straightforward. First, finding the human face. Second, getting the motion and pacing right. And third, something we all overlook, crafting the perfect title. Let's dig into each one. Okay, first up, the human face. You know, we try so hard to sound objective or professional that we often strip all the people out of our work. But guess what? Every study, every report, every analysis is about people, their decisions, their problems. When you put those actors and their emotions front and center, your writing suddenly becomes magnetic.
And hey, don't just take it from me. Listen to a master storyteller, Stephen King. He says stories only work when we recognize the people in them. Your work on market trends or new technologies, it's all driven by human behavior. So let your readers see the people behind the data. Tool number 2 is motion and pacing. Think about this. Have you ever read an article and felt exhausted at the end? Like physically tired? That's not your fault. That's a pacing problem. The writing has no rhythm. Great writing pulls you along, but it also knows when to slow down and let you catch your breath. And we usually fall into one of 2 traps here. On one side, you've got too much action. It's just fact, finding. It feels like a sprint. On the other side, you have too much commentary. These long, winding explanations that go nowhere. It's a total snooze fest. The magic is in the balance between the two. And the single biggest enemy of good pacing is clutter. As the great William Zinsser put it, we are just strangling in unnecessary words. So what's the solution? You have to be ruthless. Cut every word that isn't doing real work. Use strong verbs. If a sentence is a monster, break it up. Simple as that.
And our final tool is the one everyone sees first, the title. Seriously, we spend months on research and then maybe 30 seconds on the title. It's your first impression, your billboard, your one shot to make a busy person stop scrolling and say, I should read this. Don't throw that chance away.
Okay, so we've got our tools. But knowing what a hammer does and actually building something are 2 very different things. So let's walk through the actual process. How do you go from that scary blank page to a story that really works?
First things first, I want you to burn this quote from Anne Lamott into your brain. The entire goal of a first draft is not for it to be good, the goal is for it to be finished. You have to give yourself permission to write terribly, because that messy first draft is the raw material for everything that comes next.
So, how do we get there? It comes down to 3 basic rules. 1. Be consistent. Writing is a muscle. You have to work it out regularly, even for just 30 minutes, not just when you feel inspired. 2. Break it down into tiny, manageable pieces. Don't try to write a whole report. Just write 1 paragraph. And 3, and this is the hardest one, turn off your inner editor. Just get the words out. You can fix them later.
Okay, you did it. You have a draft. It's probably a mess, but it exists. Congratulations. Now for the really scary part, showing it to someone. But who you ask for feedback is incredibly important. You can't just send it to everyone. You need a strategy.
Think of it like assembling a team. You need 4 different types of people. You need the supporter, your cheerleader who keeps your morale up. You need the expert who can tell you if your facts are straight. You absolutely need the novice, someone outside your field who can tell you if any of it actually makes sense. And finally, you need that one person who's going to give you the harsh critic's tough love. Each of them is crucial.
So, why are we talking about all this? It sounds like a lot of extra work, right? Why obsess over storytelling and feedback loops? Because the payoff is huge. And I'm not just talking about feeling good about your writing. The rewards are real, tangible, and they can absolutely shape your career.
I mean, look at this. This is where storytelling directly impacts your success. When your writing is clear and engaging, you get published more often. The revision process gets way easier because reviewers actually get what you're saying. Your work gets cited more because people remember it. And all of that adds up to one thing: greater influence.
And that leads me to this final, really important idea. You're almost never going to get a report back that says, "We rejected this because your writing is confusing and dull." People are usually too polite for that. But here's the hidden truth. Bad writing is the invisible barrier. It's the reason the reviewer, or your client, or your boss, got frustrated and just couldn't see the genius in your idea. Your idea didn't get rejected, it just never got a fair shot because it was hidden behind a wall of bad prose.
So, we'll end with this thought. You are doing important work. Your ideas have the potential to have a huge impact, but that potential is only unlocked when you do that second job. So the question is, are you giving your brilliant ideas the powerful, clear, and compelling voice they truly deserve?